Hi friends, it's Suzanne here from sunstampin.com. I'm a Canadian Stampin' Up demonstrator. I want to welcome you to my weekly Wildcard Wednesday video on my blog and YouTube channel. The card designs I share today are a little more technique driven, but nothing too complicated. I also sell the products I feature in this video. I hope you enjoy my free video tutorial and would love to see you shop with me. For today's card, I'm continuing with the Blossoms in Bloom bundle and a technique called the Inlay Dye Technique. I have an online class going on right now featuring some amazing designs using this bundle. And if you're interested, please check out the link in the description box below. The Inlay Dye Technique is easy, but it can be a bit fiddly. So I have a piece of press and seal, which is kind of like saran wrap, and I've placed it over top of my piercing mat. So the sticky side is up. Now I have run Bermuda Bay through the die cut machine, and this is the thin die, not the thicker bottom die, if you know what I mean. And so what I'm doing is I'm sort of pressing it into my piercing mat, and then I use my bone folder to kind of lift it up off of it. I don't want any pokes or anything on my die cuts. So what I'm doing here is I am just removing the very outer edge, and you can see I have a little bit of this old Sizzix adhesive sheet. Stampin' Up used to carry it. I have put it on the entire front panel of my card front. Now, if you don't have an adhesive sheet like this, you can just coat your card front with adhesive, like whatever kind of dry adhesive you have. I don't know if it would work. I don't think it will work very well if you use glue, but you can try it. So what I'm doing is just sort of inlaying this lovely black. So I cut it out again, the same die cut, or the same die, and this was with black cardstock. And you can see I'm using my take your pick tool, and I'm easing all of that black line into the card, like into that Bermuda Bay. Then I have my Bermuda Bay die cuts out again, and I am using my take your pick tool to sort of pick out some of the backgrounds and place it in. It's like a puzzle. You are inlaying some die cuts, and what this is going to do is going to create a card front that is absolutely flat, but then it had like to the touch, but it has all this different color and dimension. So I have a lot of patience and it can be a bit fiddly. I will say this, because you're going to roll your eyes at the next part as I move into the next color. I know you're going to roll your eyes, because it's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. Now, there's a couple ways that you could omit what I'm going to do in the next step. One of them could be using like a coloring medium or something instead. So I won't get too far ahead of myself. Here is Mango Melody. I've die cut the die out, and you can see what I'm doing here, these very tiny little inner pieces of the flower, like the seed centers. So they're very fiddly, and it can be a little daunting. I initially tried it with my take your pick tool, and then I felt that it was a lot easier to go with my tweezers. Now, what you could have done, and like I said, here I'm giving you an alternative, if you fit all of the pieces in and leave the centers plain and to the very end, and then maybe you could sprinkle glitter or like some kind of, like glitter would work perfectly actually, and press that into the adhesive. But you would have to do it at the very end, or else you're going to get adhesive everywhere. So I cut that out of the film because, you know, it was very tedious. And actually I didn't film most of it. I just had I was watching YouTube makeup tutorials, I think. And yeah, so I just turned my camera off because I didn't want to waste my batteries. So here is some Granny Apple Green, and I have my Granny Apple Green blends. I have used dark and light, and I wanted to create some dimension on the leaves. So here I have my take your pick tool. I'm picking it out, and then I can just use my fingers or my little tweezers. They do come in handy. Stampin' Up! Does not sell these tweezers. I had them from a long time ago. I could not remember where I have them. When you squeeze them, they open, and when you just hold them, they're closed. So they're called opposable tweezers, I think. And you can probably find them anywhere, in a craft store or online, or even in your cosmetic area. I have been wandering around London Drugs of late and picking up some, interesting cosmetics, and I have found that there are a lot of things that I did not know existed in the cosmetic department, such as these unique similar tweezers. And I just found like Q-tips that were pointed, like super sharp pointed. I think they're called nail tips or something. Anyway, moving on from my unique cosmetic journey, I keep on going in with the backing of that adhesive sheet. And so I sort of cover the adhesive sheet when I'm not working on it, because I have cats and they have hair. And right now it is a shedding nightmare. So I want to avoid any hair getting stuck on those open areas. So this is Flirty Flamingo, and I did the same technique as I did with the Granny Apple Green. I created some dimension with my light and dark Flirty Flamingo blends markers. They're alcohol markers. And I just colored them right on the press and seal. That is a non-porous surface. So it is actually, the color stayed within where it was supposed to, and it didn't get anywhere. So I was happy. You can see every once in a while, I will use my bone folder and sort of press everything down and just create a good seal between the adhesive sheet and my cardstock. Moving on to, this is Daffodil Delight, and I have done the same with the petals on the flowers here. And, I use whatever colors you like if you want to try to do this technique. This would probably work with any floral die cut that has a fine die to it that you can inlay pieces. And I will say that the centers were a bit fiddly, but I had a little time. So I haven't been crafting for a while, so it was kind of nice to get back to it. And then I put in Wink of Stella, and I put Wink of Stella everywhere on all of the on all the petals. But I did a little mistake, and I knew better. I squeezed my Wink of Stella right here. Squeeze, too much came out. Ugh. Why does that always happen? I know better. So anyway, I did try to rescue it, and I used sort of a dry baby wipe to soak up some of the sparkle. But once you've sparkled too much, just as in cosmetics, it's really hard to get back from. So I will show you how I fixed that little issue. I went through and stamped the Get Well Soon, because I felt like, this is kind of a nice sentiment, and really it's a bunch of flowers. So it would be lovely to give this to somebody who's not feeling well. And I cut it. So I used Memento Tuxedo Black ink and just on regular stamping weight paper. And I've put small adhesive on the back of it. And then what I ended up doing was just sticking those little words over top of my Wink of Stella bloop. See, I make mistakes too, but I can cover them up. And, I will just say that this is where I wanted the sentiment to go. because I didn't want to cover up all my beautiful flowers. So I cut them apart, and I like doing this with sentiments like this that are block letters because it looks kind of cool. And I have folded it with my bone folder, and then if there's any white part left over, I will trim it down. I do this all the time, maybe not on camera. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye for now. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. On screen are 2 more videos for inspiration. Click on the maple leaf for my blog, or click on me to subscribe to my channel. Thanks again for watching.